Hey Dreamers, this is Jack2Plays, and today we're going to talk about one particular feature that has been added into the 2.44 updates from Minimalcus Dreams update, and we're going to talk about the new clone feature that has been added into the Dreams, and I'm not going to show you how it all works and what you can do with it and stuff like that. But I'm just going to talk about, is this something useful for yourself, the pros and cons of this new feature. And so I'm just going to a little bit of like dive deeper into this particular update instead of like showing what it can do. I will actually tell you also, is this something that you can use for yourself, and if it's if it's useful for yourself to use this. So that's what my video is about. So I'm not going to like show what you can do with it. I think you already know if you have seen the other tutorials out there. I'm just going to give my opinion, and I will show you if it's something that you can use for yourself. So this video is completely about the new clone feature. So we're going to like a little bit of like a dive deeper into this material video. If you have seen the other video about the convert to paint, I forgot one thing to add on that particular part, and that is like this is like something you really need to keep in mind. If you convert something to paint, that means you cannot go back anymore. There's no feature to go back from paint to sculpt. So keep in mind, if you convert something to paint, you cannot go back unless you're rewinding the scene. So if you like what you normally always use, if you are making a mistake in Dreams, you can always like rewind with the D-pad, with the left D-pad, so you can like rewind the scene, and that's the only way to get back to the scope. So keep that in mind. That's something that I forgot to add it in that video. But all right. And normally I never cut or edit in a video, so that's why I'm using this video to tell about that. All right. Um, but I'm going to talk about the new feature. The new feature is the live cloning feature that can be found under the tools. And here you see some sheeps, I think. I think it's sheeps. And we have here, and it's already automatically activated for you. So this was the old one, live cloning. That was the old version of the cloning, of the cloning technique, basically. But Dreams already have this automatically enabled for yourself, the live cloning visual, and I think that's pretty useful. Now, what does it do actually? I can like explain this a little bit quickly for you guys. But for example, you have like I have a tree here, and you can see if I hover over it, you can see all the clones that are unique to this tree. It will light up. So if I hover over it, you can see that this is like already like part of it. But if I hold L1, it will now also like highlight the other trees. And if I now like press, oh, that's my mistake. That was the wrong button. So if I now press, this all live, guys. If I press triangle, it will also add up the other trees that are particular of this clone of this one. So now everything is the same of this particular sculpt here that we have here. What does that mean is that we can now add up something new to this sculpt. And like I will do it like really stupid, like something like this, so you can see it easily. And now all the trees that is a clone of this particular tree has now the same sculpture on it. So that is pretty cool. I really, this is like for me a very cool update, and I will probably going to use this a lot. This is a time-saving update. Wow, I cannot speak English. So this is like a very this is like a very handful update for me to use. Like normally, what you normally do was, or what you normally did was, where we're going to live clone, and then this order was activated, and then we had to like clone this particular one, and then we could like change something in here, and that like was also like doing something like that. That was how we used to do this before. But every time when we did that, we had to go back into the live clone, and then do another one, and then we need to do another one, and so it was very annoying to this. And also, if you're, for example, saw that you like made a mistake or you want to add something later on, it was a little bit like more time consuming because like you needed to live code every single little bit to get the result. So it was a lot more time consuming to reach this. But now if we see that, oh, I actually forgot to add up like a more branches to this tree, and yeah, so now we can just do that. So now we can just like um, use the new live clone technique, and instead of using like this particular live clone, we can now only use this one, and we clone this one here, and we can add up now like a new branch if we want. So I think that it's pretty cool, and for me personally, that is a very helpful new feature that has been updated into Dreams. So now we just like add up a new branch, and that particular branch. Oh wait, no, wait, wait. We of course that's because we use. One sec, guys. It's because we use the other live clone for that. Okay, so again, so if we have cloned this, we need to clone this one here, and then we're going for live clone. Select all the trees. There we go. Now select all these single little trees, and now we can just like add more branches to it, like so. And that will also update it, this particular clones, but it will do everything that has the same clone before. So we are selected all the trees that is part of that particular clone. Now it can be sometimes that you don't want to have this, that you're like want to exclude a certain sculpt to do this. So how you do that, I will show you. To go back to tools, go back to live clone, and if you don't want particular have this one here, they take part of the the clones of this one here. So now if we add up like a new branch on this one, it will do all the trees still from the other one, but not this one. So how did you do that? I will show it one more time. If you go into tools, you go to live clone, hover with L1, and then press triangle again on this particular one. So now it's going to be excluded from the scope. So if we now add up like a new branch, it's not going to add up this one, but it will add up on this particular one and all the other ones that has the clones for that one. So that's how you do that. But that was like a quick video about how it works, but I'm actually going to talk about, is this useful for yourself in Dreams? And I already said it already. This, for me, particular, is a very time-consuming thing, and I can now speed up a little bit more my progress and making and building my games, my worlds actually in Dreams. And I really love this feature, but there are also some cons about this new update. They have pros and cons on this, but the cons about this is that, and it's only because of the moment of recording. I cannot say if this is ever going to be updated eventually in the future of Dreams, but at the moment of recording this, we cannot still do this, and I will talk about what particular thing that is. So if we are like cloning this one, like here, so, and I want to make sure that all the trees that from this particular clone, I want to connect them. So we're going into tools, we're going into clone, hover over this, and you can see that they will light up, they highlight, and then we press L1, or like we hold L1, and then press triangle. So now all the trees, all the clones from this particular tree has now been selected. So everything what we're going to edit on this tree will be also added on all the other trees as well. There is a downside to this feature at the moment, and we can still like change the colors. So if I want to have a white tree, It's not going to do that with all the other trees as well. This is something that I really still miss and want to have an additional to this clone sculpture. I think that is something that, for me personally, would save me even more time. I'm already saving a lot of time with this feature, but I think if we're also going to get that, if we like changing the sliders here, that it will also do it on all the other sculpts. And at the moment of recording, that is not the case, so we cannot like tweak the menus that it will also tweak all the other trees as well. So that's a little bit of like the downside of this feature still. I really hope the minimal queue is going to add something like that in the future. But at the moment of recording, like I said, at the moment of recording, we cannot do that yet. So there are ways to go get around with this still. If you're like, you can like do it on um, like there are some like ways to do it. You can connect these like with wires. So now like that tree is now like corresponding um to this particular setting. So that's pretty good. So that's still a way to get around with it if you want to do something like that. But that is the only way for now. You can also do it on. I'm not sure. John Beach had a technique. 9 out of 10 times is not really working for me. Um, but there was a technique where you can just like tap one time and then it was also going to work, but that never works with me. So I need to like watch that video again. But maybe they already fixed that. Maybe it was a bug or anything like that. But the connecting the wires is still the only option to change the individual sliders. I really hope the minimal queue is going to add a feature to the live clone if you want to also like having the the options for the sliders eventually as well, so that we now can now like say I want to have like changing the colors pretty easily on the clones as well, because that will save even more time. So this is like a little bit of like the downside of this particular feature. The good one is, of course, it will save you a lot of time in the long run. If you want to add more stuff to your sculpture and you don't want to go like use live clone every time of that sculpture, so now we can easily select all of them. It will save you a lot of time already. But I still think we can improve. There's still some improvements on this feature, but again, it's a great feature. But so, what are my final thoughts and thinking about this feature? I think in the overall of the live clone, I think it's pretty useful and it saves you a lot. For me personally, this saves me tons of time, like hours of time. I've actually, um, because I'm always tweaking further and further on certain level design, and now I can just like live cloning and like sculpt something outside of the level design, and I will can sculpt something here, and then I already know that like it's doing the rest of the world for me automatically. So it's like this is very handful after you did something in Dream. So if you have already cloned stuff into your scene, and you're suddenly think about, oh no, I actually needed to add some branches to a particular tree. Now you can do it. Now you can like do that, and that's pretty cool. I really love this feature. And like I said, there are some parts of this feature that I'm not really liking, and that is just the extra like that could save me even more time, and that's like the sliders, the options of the sculpt itself. I'm not really sure if it's technology of the technology behind it, like can work like that. I don't know. I mean everything can work, but it's only about the resources, about Minimal Kingdom themselves. I know it's a small team, so they're already like doing so much for us right now to make the experience and creating a much more easier and fun and more streamlined. So I really love this feature, but I think still it can be improved much further. So conclusion, is this something useful for yourself in your own creations? I would say a big yes, because like I said, if you're already like place something into your scene and you forgot to add something on your sculpt and in that particular scene, and you don't want to touch the original creation, like the asset outside of your dream, but you only want to like touch it inside your creation. The new life clone tool is very helpful, and I think it like will save you tons of times, tons of hours, in to even like to make it more streamlined for your creations. And I really love this feature. I think it still can be improved here and there, like add up a little bit more to this. But in the overall, I think it's a very like a cool feature to have. So yeah, just let me know in the comments what you think about this feature. Is this something useful for yourself? Do you agree with me that we also need the slider options to have this as well, so we can like also like tweak the sliders and so we don't need to connect them with wires or yeah, like it's there because like yeah, there is one before I'm going to close this video. You can of course paint. So I already hear people, the warrior, keyboard warrior typers behind the computers. You can of course use paint. So if you're using paint, that will still work. So if we like painting this red, like a red tree, it will also paint the other one red. So that is still a thing that will work, and so it's not completely like a big waste. But I'm not always like into painting because you're going to overrule the painting of the already existing painting and blah blah blah. So there are like some things that still, but painting is still possible. So if you want to paint this tree blue, for example, that is still possible, and that will also like add up to all the other trees as well. So as you can see now, that blue is not added to the reason why it looks different is not because of this because we connected the wires. So if I delete the wires and everything like that, let me. Boop. I don't know actually why that is now darker. I think it's because like we added the slider, the sliders difference, but you can still add up like painting on the sculpture, and that will eventually also add it on the sculpture itself. But I'm actually talking about these particular sliders that that like the glow, for example, the shininess, stuff like this is not possible and it's not going to like work. So whatever we are doing here, we cannot do anything about this because it will not change the outcome of the clones that we just made. So that is like still the downside of this feature. But you can still use paint. So I think that's something that I really wanted to add it on this video before people already type. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so let me know in the comments what you think about this object. Is this something that you think it will be a lifesaver for yourself in your creations? Let me know that in my comments as well. Very helpful. And yeah, I'm very curious what you're up to and what you're going to create with this new feature from Minimal Q's Dreams Content 2.44. And see you in the next video. So as always, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Goodbye for now, and as always, don't forget to dream, everybody. Bye bye.